Hopefully we all got that done. Then you're going to need out today lesson 4 notes. It's a whole page all by itself. Looks like this. Okay.
They work up there.
Your note.
I like memorize that. Because you wore it one day and I was bored.
So there was a fight?
It's
It's just your normal note, lesson 4. It says lesson 4 at the top. It's got an X, Y table on one side, an A and a B, and a lot of definitions. Okay, so as you see, not a lot of stuff this week, just except lessons. Okay, expect next week to have a quiz and a test next week. Okay, probably a quiz on Tuesday, test like on a Thursday or Friday next week. That's what we're looking at for you guys. All right. Anybody have anything for the good of the group? Okay, anybody do anything fun this weekend? How'd rodeo go? Decent.
Went to a horse show.
Horse sale. Football went well. First volleyball game this week. We're at home. Really good. Anybody else do anything fun?
Did you do anything fun?
I left Burwell Saturday morning at 5 a.m. Went to my buddy's house, did a fantasy football draft with my high school friends. And went golfing. Somehow learned how to golf.
Who's your first pick?
My first pick, well, we have a keeper league. So my keeper was Antonio Brown. And then the best player available after keepers was Melvin Gordon. But I was the 5th pick and got AJ Green. So Antonio Brown, AJ Green.
Did you watch the fight?
Well, I'm getting there. So then we went golfing. Then we went out to eat. And then I went to another friend's house to watch the fight. Yes. So it was fun.
Who were you going for?
Yeah,
Floyd,
thank you.
15 just get it done.
And Connor's just too mouthy. Too mouthy.
I think Connor did a really good job. I think he fought really well and better than I thought he did. I think if he wanted to switch over to boxing, he'd be a heck of a boxer if he actually worked at it. But I thought it was good. The only thing I would have wished is I wish that they would have had in the contract that let one of them hit the ground.
Yeah, yeah.
I would like to have seen him go down. But they had an old school ref who was going to keep the integrity of boxing, which I get. I mean, he didn't throw a punch for like a minute, so I get that.
And I mean, if they just let Floyd keep beating him, he was gonna.
That's not there, but there's also like only like 15 seconds left in the round. Just let him pummel him and then call it. But that's all right. Okay, so we're going to do this here. We're going to do all the definitions first, and then we're going to move on from there. Okay, so we're going to do all the definitions starting with a relation. Okay, so relation. Does anybody know what a relation is?
Pairing of input and output value.
Pairing of input and output values. Pairing of input and output values. In parentheses, pairing of an X and a Y. Okay? Input and output. Just like a relationship when you date. You pair a boy and a girl together. And you are dating. This is an input and an output, an X and a Y. You're dating. You're together. Okay? So the next one is then a function. And a function is a relation, but it's a more specific relation. And it is what? What's that defined as?
It's a long
What's it say?
associate. So with each element of the first set, the domain, the unique one, and only one element of the second set.
So each, okay, so a pairing of one input value to exactly one output value. in parentheses, one x value to one y value. So I ask you this before we move on. I'll put it up here so we can have a visual. But let's say I have an XY table. -1, 0, 1, -1, 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is this a relation or a function or both? Is it a relation?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a relation. Oh, a relation is a pairing of input and output. I input an x and I output a y. Is it a function? Pairing of one input value to exactly one output.
No.
Why?
Because it's multiple.
Why is it not? There's one thing.
Because you need zero.
You have two negative ones.
I have two -1s. I can use 0. 0 is okay. But I have two -1s. Okay? So -1 here is my x value, and it's dating two people.
Ah,
-1's dating 3, and -1 is dating 6. Okay? Not good. Each x value can only have one y value for it to be a function. Okay? X is dating two people. That's why they're your x, because they're dating two people. That's why they're your x. They're dating two people. Okay? Now, so if you want to write down, and we kind of have it in there, each x value can only have one y value. So let's do this. Let's say I have 3, 4, and 5. And let's say 3 is 6, 7, 6.
No.
Is this a relation?
Yes.
It's a relation. Yeah. Is it a function?
No.
Why not?
Because 3 is dating 6 and 5 is what 6.
Well, 3 is dating 6 and 5 is dating 6. That's okay.
I mean, the lines go like that.
Graph these points. Let's just graph it. That looks okay. This is okay.
It's just
Your y
X.
can repeat because it says comparing of each input value to exactly one output. Well, the input is 3, the output's 6. That's okay. The input's 5 and the output's okay. Just the input can't have two different outputs. Okay? But two different inputs can have the same output. Just the same input can't have two outputs. Okay? If you put something in, if you put money into a pop machine, you input $1.25, and you click Dr. Pepper, you better get Dr. Pepper, right? It better not flip between Dr. Pepper and Sunkist. No.
Ew.
I should not have two different things. It better be Dr. Pepper every time. So every time that I plug in -1, it better be 3. I don't want to get a 6. Okay? Can't do that. So that's a function. We'll get deeper into that here later on. Okay, next one. Domain. Does anybody know what domain is?
All the answers.
The input values.
Domain is the input values or input values, in parentheses, x values. So the domain is what you plug in. The domain is what you plug in. Okay? Think about it this way. X or Y, what comes first? X comes first in the alphabet. Domain and range. D and R, what comes first? D or R? D. So X and D both come first. So there's my first thing. Then we'll get to another thing with the next ones. Okay? Input, output. What comes first? I or O? X, D, and I all come first. That's the first column. Y, R, and O are the others. Okay, so domain's that. So what's my range?
The output values.
The output values, parentheses, Y values. Good. Okay. So we can look at that on a graph. If it's on a graph, it's really easy, right? Or if it's on a table, it's really easy. Okay? My domain, 3, 4, 5. My range, 6, 7. Okay, I can repeat. Now, if I have a graph, let's say I have a graph that starts here and goes here, and it looks like this. Something really pretty. Let's say this is -5, and let's say this is 7, and let's say the lowest point of this guy down here is -3, and the highest point of this guy right here and right here is right here at 10. Okay? What's the domain of this?
The X value.
The x value. So what's the domain of this?
7, -5.
-5 to 7. Okay? Or -5, -4, -3, ... 7. Okay? What's the range?
10.
-3 to 10. Okay, that's my range somewhere in there. Okay? Looks like that. Range would be here, range would be here, domain, domain. Alright? I know we're flying through, that's okay. We'll cover more. I just want to get these definitions down. Next one's input variables, or independent variables. And what's it mean to be independent? On your own. Do you need anything else? No, you don't need anything else. So, would you say, out of the x and the y up there, which one doesn't need the other?
The X.
X.
The x. Okay? So the independent variable, the x value, or the input value. Independent, they're by themselves. It's what I plug in, right? And if we think about plugging in, it's because we have an equation. I'll get to that here in a second. And then the dependent. So which one of those is the dependent variable? The y value, or the output. Okay? So there's some definitions. Now let's go back up to the relation that said has A and B. Okay? And I'll draw it up here so that we can see it. So I got 1, 3, 5, 9, that's A. And then for B, I have 2, 3, 6, 5, 7, 8. They kind of rearrange it. Okay? This isn't an X, Y, but they label this A and they label this B. Which one's the input? A. This is input. Which one's B? Output. What one's the domain?
A.
Domain. Range. Output. This would be my independent. This would be my dependent. Okay? Now they say 1 goes to 2. They say 3 goes to 2. They say 5 goes to 7. And they say 9 goes to 8. Just to connect your dots. If I made this an XY table, which I could, it would be 1, 2, 3, 2, 5, 7, 9, 8. Same thing. Okay? Just written two different ways. Is it a function?
Yes.
Is my are any of my x's dating two people? No. 1 has 2 and 3 has 2. That's okay. As long as just the same x does not have two different y's. So the same input has two different outputs. Can't have that. Okay? So this is a function. Okay? Now, yes, function. This is not on your notes, but maybe to help you connect the dots if you're a little bit confused right now. Let's say I have y equals 3x plus 2. I want to make an x and a y table. Okay? How can I make an x and a y table?
Put in 1 for X.
1, 2, 3. I input these numbers. I throw in 1, I get 3. I add 2, I get 5. I throw in 2, I get 6 plus 2 is 8, and then 11. Input, output, domain, range. Independent, because I could pick any infinite number to plug in here, and I'm going to get a dependent answer out here, dependent on what I plug in. So is this a function?
Yes.
Yes, it is, because it makes a straight line. Okay? Your next example. says 2, 7, 4, 9, 6, 11, 8, 13, and 10, 15. Is that a function? Yeah, dang right it is. The domain's the x, the range is the y, independence the x, output, or inputs the x, outputs the y. We know that stuff, right? Okay? Who can tell me an example of something that's not a function? Can someone give me an example?
Yes.
Okay, Weston, what's an example of something that's not?
You wanna make like an XY?
Yeah.
Okay. So you could have like 1 and 7 and 2 and 8 and 1 and 7 or 6 and 3 and 5.
Okay, good. That's an example of not a function because 1 is dating 7 and 1 is dating 6. Not good. That's why they're your x, because they're dating 2 people. Not good. Okay? That's not a function. Let's graph these points. Say that's 7. That's 8. Then you're also going to have this right here. And 3 is going to be 5 here. That's a weird graph. On a graph, my x is only supposed to have one y value. Now it's got 2 y values in the same line, so that's not good. Okay? It also does not pass now the vertical line test. If I draw a bunch of up and down lines, it's going to go through both points, and that's not good. Okay? Which I think that's the next vocab word, is vertical line test. Okay? Where I draw infinitely many vertical lines, and if it hits the graph more than once, it's not a function. It's not a function. Okay? I'm going to explain that more with that example that's right below there. Okay? You have a graph on there that looks something like this. Okay? And if I draw all these vertical lines, it hits there, it hits there, it hits there on all these guys. So let's just say this is x equals -5, but up here it's -5, 8. Here it's -5, -2, and here it's -5, -7. So if I made an XY chart for this, I'd have -5, 8, -5, -2, -5, -7. -5 is dating 3 people. Okay? Now my X is dating 3 people at the same time. Not good. Okay? Can't have it. So I'd like you to just draw these lines on there as an example of what the vertical line test is, and showing that it hits these, and that's not a function. It cannot happen. That is not good. Okay? So is the middle one, if I apply the vertical line test, is it a function?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Now, that third one, I'm trying to trick you here. This is an advanced question, but it's one of the favorite of the ACT. It's a favorite. Okay? And I don't know exactly what it looks like, but it looks something like this. Something like that. Okay, it looks something like this. And these are on the same line of like 1, these are on the same line of like 2. Okay? Function or not a function?
Yes.
Yeah.
Function. Because here, how many times is 1 used? Once. Because open circles mean you're going to get all the way there, but you're not going to get there. So like 1.01 is the first thing after it. Here, 1's -1 would be included. Here, 2 is not included, but it's included up here. So it does still have one unique answer for the y. Okay? So this is a function if I do the vertical line test because of these open circles. Okay? And I would have exactly one thing. All right? Any questions about today? Okay? Pretty easy just being able to identify function or not a function. And then going from there. Okay? So if it gives you an equation and it says, is this equation a function? I'd graph it on my graphing calculator and then try to apply the vertical line test and go from there. Okay? All right, what's homework say today, Emily?
A through F,
A through F, 1 through
20.
20. It's on your homework sheet. Have at it. You guys got about 25 minutes to get quite a bit done on that. All right.